Stop wasting hours hiring the wrong people and do this instead. Because hiring your first team members can help you take your business to the next level or turn it into a complete disaster. And most people get it wrong, and it costs them time, money, and a whole lot of stress. And trust me, I've been there. I made every mistake in the book, and it almost wrecked my business. But I figured it out, turned it into a science, and now I want to help you avoid the same pitfalls that I went through. So if you want to build a team that supports your growth instead of holding you down, then stick around, because mistake number 5 is the one that catches everyone off guard. Even if you hire the perfect person, things can still go sideways if you're not communicating effectively. And that's why I'm giving you my ultimate task delegation template. Absolutely free. Go to the description, click on the link, and you can download it. It includes video instructions so you can see exactly how to use it so you can start delegating like a pro immediately. And I found that using this framework eliminates 95% of the annoying back and forth that you go through. Now, I was hiring for years in my corporate job before I started my own business. But I want to take you back to when I started hiring for my own business, which weirdly enough seemed way different. It shouldn't have been way different. But I think because you're so attached to your business, there's so much emotion, I completely screwed it up. I was working crazy hours, clients were piling up, and I was sure everything was about to fall apart. And I knew I needed help, and I needed help fast. But these hiring mistakes that I'm about to go over with you almost completely destroyed my business. So mistake number 1 was hiring family or friends. At the time, I thought, man, who can I trust? My cousin seemed like the safe bet. I knew her. I trusted her. She was smart. She was reliable. So I hired her. Big mistake. She made a huge and totally avoidable mistake that I tried to walk her through and show her exactly what to do. But when she didn't follow the instructions, it cost us a $40,000 sale. So I had no choice. I had to let her go. And guess what? The fallout wasn't just in business. There's a lot of family drama that went along with that. My dad and my aunt got in this huge fight. They didn't talk for years. I think me and my cousin got over it faster than they did. But it ruined Thanksgiving. Christmas Eves were awkward. And even 15 years later, it's still a little awkward. I'm not going to lie. So if you value a relationship, do not hire a friend or family member, no matter how tempting it might be. It's just not worth the risk. Now, on to mistake number 2, hiring in-house employees too soon. After firing my cousin, I had to start all over again. So I went online, posted a job, went through job boards, looked at resumes, got all these applications, scheduled some interviews, did the interviews. Finally, after, longer than I anticipated, I was able to hire a really amazing person. And then as the business grew, I hired more amazing people. And that's when things started to totally fall apart. You see, I hired more people to take on the work. And then I had to scramble to get new clients to pay for their salaries. More clients meant more work, and more work meant more employees. I was in this vicious cycle, this vicious loop that was just sucking the life and the profits out of me. The business was increasing, revenues were increasing, but my take-home pay was decreasing. And it got so bad that my electricity got shut off multiple times in the middle of summertime with a bunch of kids in the house. Not good. The wife was not happy. My cell phone got shut off a few times. I ended up having to short sell my house. And then I read The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and it completely changed how I looked at and thought about my agency. I fired my entire team, got rid of my office, outsourced everyone, and I became immediately profitable. Now, just to be authentic and clear, I didn't make all these decisions immediately overnight. I made the decision. I hired some outsourcing folks. Once I got them trained up and saw that they were actually working and could replace these folks, then I had to make that very tough decision. Letting people go is not a good thing, especially in the name of profits, but it was in the name of paying bills. I had to feed my family. I have 5 kids. It's ridiculous. So I didn't take that lightly. It was honestly one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But lesson learned, do not hire in-house employees too soon. Because looking back, there are things I just didn't think about. Obviously the cost of salary is a lot higher than an outsourced employee or an outsourced team member. But when you have in-house employees, you also have to pay for portions of their taxes, workman's comp insurance, any type of benefits that you have to add on top of that. It's very expensive and it adds up quickly. So now I always recommend to people to start by outsourcing non-customer facing roles first. Mistake number 3, I rushed into hiring people. The first time I hired, I waited till the last minute. I was drowning in work, working over 16-hour days. And because I was so overwhelmed, I grabbed the first person that I thought could help me. And as you know, that blew up in my face. And then the next person, even though they were amazing, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows at first. It took way too much time to think of and write a job description, get that thing posted, sift through job boards and resumes and incoming applications, schedule interviews, do the interviews, hire someone, onboard them. I mean, I was hiring, hoping, I'm working 16-hour days. If I hire a full-time person, they can take 8 hours and I'd be working like a normal person. But they had tons of questions, tons of mistakes, and I'd have to do the work to fix those mistakes. So instead of saving me time, they actually took more of my time. They literally added about 2 or 4 extra hours a day, extra work. So here's the lesson I learned. Don't wait until you're desperate. The hiring process takes time. Them getting used to how you work, how you like things. And just think about the last time you got a job somewhere. It took you a couple months to get into the swing of things, right? What I'm saying is expect things to get worse before they get better. But if you're patient with them and you communicate clearly and you take the time to train them, trust me, it will be worth it. They will end up taking a considerable amount of time off your plate. Now, on to mistake number 4, hiring the wrong position. One of the biggest and most costly mistakes I've ever made in business was hiring based off of what I did not want to do anymore, instead of hiring for a position of what my business actually needed to move the needle forward. Now, at one point, I was completely swamped with client work. I knew I needed more customers, but I had this story in my head that I don't have time to do sales myself, probably because I did sales as my career. And honestly, I was kind of probably burnt out on it and didn't really want to do that. So I was just like most people, when they're starting to hire, they're looking for the silver bullet, the thing that's going to save their business. And I was like, I need more sales. I'll hire a salesperson. And there we go. Problem solved. But the problem wasn't sales. The problem, the root cause was marketing. I didn't have enough leads coming in. So this person was just sitting there, not getting leads, not closing business, just taking a salary with no results. And I made the same mistake in other areas too. Like when clients started to cancel, I thought we just needed to push harder on marketing and sales. The real issue was the client experience. I didn't have the time to nurture and give the people the love and attention they needed. I needed someone that could improve the client experience and also improve customer retention, not just bringing on new clients. Why fill a bucket with new clients when there's holes in the bottom of the bucket? You know what I mean? And another time I got so overwhelmed with all the different team members that I thought, I need a manager to manage all these people. But what the business really needed was implementers to take the last pieces off of my plate so that I could be working with these people. And that got me completely stuck, basically hiring folks that were doing things that I didn't want to do instead of the things that I needed to do for the business to grow forward. And I'll touch base on this a little bit more in another video where I cover the growth matrix and also a hiring matrix, which kind of shows you exactly what stage you're in right now and what you should be focusing on and what roles you can hire for. I'll put that video probably, in the description so you can watch that later. So what I do now is if I go, I need to hire, I take a step back. I unplug from the matrix so I don't have any interruption, so I can actually get some serious thought time in without distraction. And I look at the business and I go, what position is actually going to move the business forward based on the stage that we're in right now, instead of hiring for a position to do something that I just don't feel like doing anymore. Because the hard truth is, usually the thing that you don't want to do is the thing that you need to do to grow. And I really didn't like hearing that the first time I heard it. But let me tell you, it is the freaking truth. Now, this next mistake catches everyone off guard. Mistake number 5, hiring somebody after just one interview. My old VP of sales used to say, Jeremy, be slow to hire and quick to fire, because people are good at interviewing and sometimes they suck at the job. They know exactly what to say to get hired, but once they start, they're a complete disaster. So I created a multi-step interview process that weeds out the undesirables very quickly so that I could spend my time with just the top candidates and not wasting my time, touching base with every single applicant. So here's what I do right now. I do a video application. So I have a video where I kind of explain the job, and then I ask them to answer the questions in videos so that I can see, hear them, and it gives me a good insight. Now, here's the real trick is that most people don't follow instructions. So about 90% of the folks won't even give me a video. So if they can't follow instructions for a job interview, how are they going to follow instructions when you're trying to teach them? Not very well. So it weeds out people immediately. And then I do a Zoom call. I usually pick like 5 to 3 people, do Zoom interviews so I can kind of get a better idea of their personality and their character, because we're going to be working with these people. If they don't fit the culture, like we're probably not going to have fun working together. And I don't want to not have fun at this stage of my life. Like I don't want it to be a chore working with somebody, you know, so I want to make sure there's a good culture fit for us. And I want to make sure that they have some of the, you know, intangibles. I'll cover a little bit later in this video. Well, we're almost done. So pretty quickly, I'll be covering the intangibles. But I focus on those things in those interviews. So after I do that interview, I usually pick 2 people, and depending on the position, I'll either give them a test with limited instructions and see how they handle it. Did they ask 0 questions and get it done really fast, but it was crappy? Did they ask some questions that were just absolutely stupid? Like, dude, why can't you figure that out on your own? So maybe they just aren't competent enough for this position. Or maybe they asked really good questions. They took their time, but still got it done in a timely manner. Then I can say, you know, this person's probably best for the job, right? Tests are good. Other jobs, I can't really give a test. I can't, like for, let's say a client-facing role, like an account manager, I can't really give them a test, but I might hire 2 of them and then let them kind of run with it. And after a month, I can see, like, does one really shine or does one suck? What I like to do is I like to be authentic with them and let them know, like, hey, this is a trial. And by the way, you're competing with this person, and, you know, you can do it or not do it. It's up to you, but this is how we do it. You know, it's a month trial, probationary period. And at the end, we're going to pick the best one for the job. And what's really cool about that is you end up seeing that they end up giving their best because they know they're competing against somebody. And now you're able to see what their best is. So when one person goes, it's just them and their work quality goes down. You're able to go back to that and be like, you used to be like this when you first started, bro. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? So it's a good tell. It's a good way to measure future work as well. So I do go into this process in a lot more detail in a video titled The Perfect Hiring System, how to get the right person the first time. And you can watch it by clicking in the description. There's a link to that video, or I think there's a button popping up here somewhere where you can watch that right now. But again, the lesson I learned was to never just hire someone after just one interview. So make them prove that they're a fit before you commit. All right, so for that bonus tip, hiring for intangibles. There's a reason Coach Bill Belichick of the Patriots has more Super Bowl rings than anybody else. And it's because he said that he drafted for speed, because he couldn't teach speed. He could teach them all the other fundamentals and you know, strategies and whatnot. But when football, it comes down to speed and strength, and you just can't teach speed. But in our case, you can teach people softwares, you can teach them systems, you can teach them processes, but you can't teach them work ethic, motivation, problem-solving skills. So always look for and hire based on the intangibles first, because you can teach them everything else. So just to recap, the 5 mistakes that I made that you want to avoid. Number 1, don't hire family or friends. Number 2, don't hire in-house employees too soon. And number 3, don't rush the hiring process. And number 4, don't hire based on what you don't like to do. Hire on what is going to actually move your business forward. And like I said, in another video, I cover the hiring matrix so you can see what order you should be hiring based on what phase in your business that you're in right now. And number 5, don't hire after just doing one interview. Take the time, get to know people. It's like we're so busy and we're pulled in 100 different directions that, like, we always try to find shortcuts. We're always in a rush. We're always busy. And that makes us make terrible decisions. It's like, okay, I could spend 2 more hours on this hiring process and save myself 6 months of heartache finding out this person sucked, firing them, trying to find somebody else, get them all trained up until they're good to go 6 months from now. Like, if I spend 2 hours to save 6 months, I have to do that every single time I'm making a hire. Otherwise, I rush, and it's like, oh, I saved myself 2 hours, and then I just go through heartache. Like, I got to a point where it just doesn't make sense. And when you have that pain is like one of the best teachers ever. So I've had that pain enough times where I just won't do it anymore. It's like, just take the time and be patient with them, when you do bring them on, because sometimes even though somebody makes mistakes, like I have a 3-strike rule. You make one mistake, cool, no worries. We're all human. Everybody makes. If you make a mistake tomorrow, cool, no worries. Everybody makes a mistake. But if it's the same mistake, like, hey, let's have a conversation about this. Why did this happen? You said you wouldn't do it again, and it happened. What's going on? And the third time, you're not coachable. Time to go. Time to find somebody that is. And I know that sounds harsh. You know, I am empathetic. I do have a heart. Every situation's a little bit different, but that's kind of the standard that I go by. So if this video has helped you, go ahead and hit that like button, hit subscribe. I'd love for you to join the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. That way you get notified when the next video comes out. And if you know somebody that you think would benefit from this video, stop what you're doing, share it with them right now. And if you're ready to build your dream team, then click on the description. There's a link in there taking you to a video that's going to show you how insourcing beats outsourcing 100% of the time. And I will see you in the next video.